Coyote Co-Grow with Quantum Techniques, and I wanted to be able to explain to you a little bit more about a fungal infection. We may have just talked on the phone and I had maybe diagnosed that you have a fungal infection in your body, and I wanted to explain a little bit more that maybe I wasn't able to do on the phone about what to do in order to help you get rid of the fungal infection. So the first thing is that fungal infections can be called by many names. Some people call them mold, candida, but it's basically mold or fungus growing in your body in certain organs that we may have identified that we're wanting to get rid of that, okay, because of it trying to also attracting pathogens in the body and also making you sensitive to maybe some ingestants and things like that, and also causing inflammation, which is the start of all disease. So I wanted to kind of go over with you certain foods that sometimes increase a fungal infection. And so a lot of these I suggest that you stay away from for a period of time till the fungal's gone. Or we can also test these to find out if these specific foods affect you, and in other words, increase the fungal, or whether they don't bother you. So that's another thing that once you listen to the list, jot down what you'd like me to test next time, and we can do that. So the things to stay away from in order to help you not grow a fungal infection in your body are yeast, beer, wine, vinegar, sugar, maple syrup, fruit. Now I always stop at fruit and I say, okay, there are certain fruit that are more sugary than others. Grapes are very sugary, so we usually test those and we find out they sometimes do cause a fungal infection. Sometimes people cannot tolerate bananas. Sometimes oranges, and we may have already tested the citrus. The next thing is that we test apples and pears. They don't have a very high fruit content and sugar content, so therefore they tend to be okay, but those would be something that we could test. Grapefruit juices or any juices, because they're very concentrated, sometimes don't do very good. Raisins, they're also very concentrated, or any kind of dried fruit, so I usually suggest not having those. Dates, nuts. Now I usually stop on nuts too and say, there's walnuts, pecans, macadamia nuts, almonds, cashews, peanuts. Peanuts are a very fungal laden fruit. I'm sorry, not fruit, a nut. And so therefore, that's one of the things that probably won't be able to have, but we can test the others and see if there's something you can have. There's also certain things that we can do with nuts to help them get better. For example, we can wash them in grapeseed extract. We can also roast them. So there's several things that we can test if you really like nuts and want to see if we could have you eat nuts. The other foods to stay away from are melons, mushrooms, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries. Usually blueberries are okay, so that would be another fruit that we'd see if it was okay. Dairy and cheese, and especially like blue cheese, because it is moldy cheese. So those are some suggestions of things to stay away from, and we would be testing you specifically to find out what they are. Now the next thing we move into is the remedies. In other words, there are certain remedies that we find are very helpful for getting rid of the fungal infections. So the first one is called sodium chloride and citric acid. Sometimes it has another name called MMS, or Miracle Mineral Supplement. So we usually suggest that one, and we will test you to find out whether that test's okay. Another one is molecular silver. Both of those supplements can be found on mmsdr.com. And a lot of times you can get the sodium chloride and citric acid called on a QT special. Or you can find them grouped together and be able to purchase them, both that and the molecular silver together. So look at the website and see what works for you. Also, some of the things are antifungal formula, and that's by quantumherbalproducts.com. That's QUANTUMHERBALPRODUCTS.com. Some other things are grapeseed extract, sometimes called Trigard, Caprin by Biotics, and I probably would have gone over that with you for ordering on the phone. And there's also some other things to help with the fungal, but then we say, and I'll be testing, I should have been testing that for you already and let you know, but I just want to give you kind of a little more detail. Going back to the sodium chloride and the citric acid, I just want to give you the instructions for that, because sometimes that can get confusing. Usually, however many drops I've said to take of the sodium chloride, And then I've said, okay, how many drops of the citric acid? You combine that, wait 3 minutes, add 1/3 cup of water, and then drink it. Okay, and then that depends on whether you have it once a day or twice a day. Another thing that you can do is that you can take a smaller dosage more times throughout the day. If you do become like intolerant to it, or you're like, oh, I just really don't want to take this today, that's a key that there's a chance it has become a curtain for you. And all you need to do is just call me and we can try to clear that curtain, okay? So once we have those remedies, some of the other things that we want to add is probiotics to your intestines to help them start growing the good flora. So some of the things that we recommend is Primal Defense by Garden of Life and PB8. Both of those are usually, you can find it at your health food store. Then we have Colon Health by Dr. Phillips, Ultima 10 by vitaminshop.com. There's also Ultimate Probiotic by Lee Swanson. And then there may be some others that we may have tested if those main ones did not come up. So I just want to go into further detail so that maybe that explained it a little bit more that we didn't have time to on our call. The last question I usually get is, okay, how long is it going to take for me to get rid of this fungal infection? That is a good question. It kind of depends on several things. One is, how long have you had the fungal infection? We can get over fungal infections pretty quick these days, but sometimes you really do have to get that pathogen load off your body, the virus, the bacteria, the parasites, in order to heal. So that's why we've told you to stay off a couple of these foods that are maybe preventing this from getting well. The other thing is that sometimes the fungal is an expression of fear in your body, and so you need to do the emotional work in order to get this to release out of your body and your tissue. So I just look forward to talking to you again, and thank you for listening to the issues on fungal. Thanks.
Quantum techniques are not intended to diagnose, prescribe, treat, or cure any disease, physical or mental. Quantum techniques are self-help coaching techniques to balance bioenergetic systems and are not intended as a substitute for regular medical care. The purpose of this work is to reduce stress, enhance health, and remove any dysfunction in the body's bioenergetic system. No one is advised to discontinue or to avoid medical or psychological consultations. There are cases where medical or psychotherapeutic consultations are advised. Some statements in this training represent working theory rather than accepted science. Quantum techniques practitioners offer bioenergetic consultations and do not practice under any license, such as medical doctor, psychologist, psychotherapist, chiropractor, nutritionist, or naturopath. Bioenergetic consulting is not currently regulated by any licensing board in the United States. Any spiritual counseling provided by quantum techniques practitioners is not part of any recognized religion, nor is it intended as the practice of clinical psychology or psychotherapy. In this DVD series, we are describing frequencies only. When we use the words virus, bacteria, fungus, parasite, etc., we are only describing the energetic frequency of those items.